Hello everyone and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and the inaugural Bagger Racing League races at this track. Pat Gonzalez along with two-time Canadian Superbike champion Michael Taylor and a competitor in the Harley-Davidson XR 1200 series. Michael, it's all Harley-Davidsons, although this series is also open for Indian motorcycles, but these bikes are a whole lot different than the XR 1200s that you race.
They are, Pat. They start out as a basic Harley-Davidson XR, but by the time they're finished, the Bagger bikes are modified. They're more like super bikes versus what the series we did was a lot more like a super sport type of machine. Change suspension, foot pegs, and that's it. And everybody try their best. Whereas there's a lot more to the tuning of these bikes, and we'll have to see who's got the bikes sorted out best for the track.
Well, the one guy who's got more experience than all of the Americans combined is Sam Guerin. And he was the guy who at the end of the qualifying session got the pole position. He'll be the pre-race favorite going into race number 1 of 2. Let's have a look at the full starting grid for this inaugural Bagger Racing League race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
All right, Pat, starting in the grid for the Bagger Racing League inaugural race at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Sam Guerin on pole.
Cody Gilmore alongside Arnie Wells, row 2. It'll be Masters, Braymiller, and Hoffman. And then Schlack back in row 3. Jesse Janisch will not start. They had problems in qualifying. Riders making their way out of turn number 10, getting ready for the start. Let's go to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Sen.
Thanks. This is the first ever Bagger race in Canada as the Bagger Racing League makes its way from the United States to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in conjunction with the Bridgestone Canadian Superbike Championship. A familiar face to that championship is Canadian star Samuel Guerin, who is on pole in the Bagger race as the only Canadian on the grid. Guerin says though he's racing in both classes this weekend, he's comfortable with the transition between his BMW Superbike and Harley-Davidson Road Glide. Still, the American riders all said they want to beat Guerin at his home track. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. As we get set for the start, looks like the grid is all set. Red flag in the air, waiting for those starting lights to go off. There's your pole sitter, Sam Guerin. And Michael, looks like Sam got a great start on the Harley.
He did, Pat. Challenging conditions for all the riders here. Mixed track, a little wet, a little mostly dry, but there is water running across in a few spots. They're going to have to tiptoe at first until they get comfortable on this new circuit for most of the guys.
Your race leader, Sam Guerin, through turn number 2, already opening up several bike lengths on Cody Gilmore on that 374 machine, running in the second place position. And the qualifying lap for Guerin was a quick one, 1:32.277 as he works under the second of the Chevrolet bridge up into Moss Corner on this opening lap. Very difficult corner on these big Harleys.
It is indeed, Pat. One thing about this track, you've got to keep your speeds up all the time, and it's hard to do when you first get here. Hard to learn, but Sam's been around this track a lot on a number of different types of motorcycles.
Sam Guerin, your race leader, up the Andretti straightaway. That is a long climb on these machines. Guerin leading under the Canadian Tire Bridge. And now we go on board with Sam Guerin, the original Moto Garage Harley rider, coming through turn 8. Now he'll set it up for the lean to the left through turn 9, and then that final turn 10 that'll bring him onto the start-finish straightaway. And he has opened up a big advantage here on Cody Gilmore on this opening lap.
Sam is pushing hard. We saw him at the top of the Mario Andretti straightaway, weaving and bobbling and not quite getting settled into that last corner, but he's managed to hold on to it and keep a good line through the last few corners. We see him moving again up into corner 2. I think he's pushing as hard as he can right now, Pat.
Indeed, Sam Guerin down through turn number 2. He is pulling away from Cody Gilmore, who holds the second place position. Arnie Wells third. You see the 51 there of Masters in fourth. And then the 27 of Sean Hoffman rounding out your top 5. That's a pretty good scrap back there for 5th between Hoffman on the 27 and Tonawanda, New York's Craig Braymiller on the number 331 machine.
Cody Gilmore and Arnie Wells are the next fastest guys on the track, and it seems to me like Guerin's trying to get away from them so they can't follow and learn his lines, because it's a really big advantage at this track to have experience. And if you follow, you learn. If you can't see them, you don't learn anything.
Race leader Sam Guerin really getting small, tucked in behind the fairing on that Harley-Davidson Road Glide machine. Off the end of the Andretti straightaway, in through the top of the S's, leaning that big Harley right over. Now the flick to the left. How difficult is that transition, Michael, through the S's?
Well, these are big, heavy motorcycles, Pat. We raced XR 1200s 10 years ago here, about 100 pounds lighter, but still heavy motorcycles. And you really got to pick your lines carefully, because they don't change direction quickly. You've got to know where you're going.
We'll be right back with more Bagger Racing. This program's brought to you by Bridgestone, by Pace Law Firm's Fallen Riders Support Team, and by Wild Boar Audio by Hogtunes. Sam Guerin has dominated this opening Bagger race of the weekend as he works down into turn one. Let's hear from our race leader.
The Bagger, it's got a lot of torque, so it's not the same power characteristic as the BMW, as the S1000 or the M1000. You have to drive it at lower RPM. It's half of the RPM that we reach with the BMW, so it goes to 8,000 RPM instead of like 15. The gears are a little bit shorter and it has more compression. When you release the throttle, it brakes. There's no electronic on the Bagger, so it's all throttle control. There's no ABS, there's nothing. It's really different than what you can find on the superbikes. It's more stable, the longer wheelbase, and it's heavier. It's 600 pounds of steel, so it's a different thing to ride than the superbike.
Sam Guerin adapting really well. He's riding two different motorcycles this weekend. He's riding the Superbike and the Bagger League bikes, completely different characteristics, as he mentioned. And the other guys are they're just riding the one class. So it's really a testament to his abilities on his bike to be able to switch from one to the other that fast.
Sam Guerin, your race leader through turn number 8. In through the first part of the S's, now through turn number 9. There you can see the lap times on his screen, 1:32 and change, and he's put a couple of those back to back. He'll come up to the line. The blue and white last lap flag is out from Chris Chappell as he works down into turn 1, leading Cody Gilmore, Arnie Wells, Jake Masters, Hoffman, Craig Braymiller, Schlacht, who is now running a lap down, and of course the non-starter, Jesse Janisch.
Pat, Sam's doing what he's got to do here. He knows he's got to win at least one, if not both of these races. He's second in the championship, and his main rival is not even here this weekend. So he's got to do everything he can on his original garage Harley-Davidson to get as close as he can for that last race of the year.
Well, Sam Guerin working his way here down under the bridge at turn 4. This is a non-championship round here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. They'll have their final race of the year in November at Willow Springs Raceway in California, but Sam is currently second in the overall championship behind former World Superbike rider Ruben Zaus. They'll renew hostilities later on this fall, but right now, Sam Guerin on that number 418 Harley-Davidson is gone, well ahead of Cody Gilmore as the checkered flag awaits them into the S's for the final time.
Pat, it's really impressive to see how well he's done here, and he's had the advantage of being able to ride here before, where the other guys have been just arriving, and we've had mixed weather conditions all weekend long. They haven't had as much track time as Sam, and it's really showing now. Look at that lead.
Out of the final corner, there's the checkered flag, and Sam Guerin has won the very first Bagger Racing League event here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and in Canada.
Great win for Sam. You know, Pat, Sam's on a meteoric rise right now. He's won 2 Superbike events this year, his first ever, and here we see him really impressive on a completely different motorcycle.
Sam Guerin waving to the crowd after a tremendous victory. Let's go to Sarah with our winner.
Congratulations, Sam, on winning Canada's first ever bagger race, and as a Canadian, how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels awesome. It's our first win with the bagger, with the BRL. So we finished second last season and this season. So now to finally get it, it's a very good moment.
And you've got the Canadian flags at the front, perfect for you.
Yeah, exact. The crowd was, I think, was really happy that Canadian won it. I think Cody was pretty fast, but we managed to create a big gap, and I was putting on some fast laps, and the gap kept increasing. So it was just managing the bike and trying to stay on the track.
There's Sam Guerin receiving his BRL award as he takes the win over Cody Gilmore. There you see the margin of victory, a little over 14 seconds. Good ride for Michael Wells. They call him Arnie. In third, Jake Masters, Ray Miller, and the rest of the rundown. Up next, our second BRL race from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second of our Bagger Racing League races. Pat Gonzalez along with former Canadian Superbike champion Michael Taylor. Michael, a great race yesterday. Sam Guerin takes the win, Cody Gilmore in second, Arnie Wells third. But there was one rider who did not start that race, Jesse Janish. They've repaired his motorcycle. It's the only turbocharged bagger. He could be the guy who is going to be battling with Guerin for the win here in race 2.
Pat, anything could happen today. A couple of the riders were going fast yesterday. Cody Gilmore and Arnie Wells, they were really strong. Had a lot more time on the bike, but Jesse's got perhaps the potential to be on the fastest motorcycle out there. As you say, the only turbocharged bike. They had some valve train trouble early on in the day. I think the guys have got it sorted out, so today's race could be a 4-rider battle for the lead.
Well, it'll be interesting. Sam Guerin tries to double up here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and our Bagger Racing League competition should be a great race number 2. Riders completing their warm-up lap. Let's go to our Bridgestone pit reporter, Sarah Said.
Thanks. Samuel Guerin took over the track as he won Canada's first ever bagger race by a large margin here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But the question is, how will he fare in confusing weather conditions? Though he just finished 6th place in the Bridgestone CSBK Championship Superbike race on a damp track, Guerin tends to do well in rain. Still, Guerin has never tried his wet tires on a Harley-Davidson in a race, but has in practice. So it's a game-time decision for the crew as the track seems to dry up. As for last race's 2nd place finisher, Cody Gilmore, he says he's only raced in the rain a couple times and that it definitely poses an extra challenge for him. But ultimately, he doesn't feel too stressed and just wants to feel it out as he goes. Back to you.
Getting set for the start here of race number 2, Sam Guerin trying to go back-to-back. He's on the pole position. There you can see the track conditions. There's still lots of damp spots. The lights go out, and Sam Guerin once again from that pole position down into turn 1. Good start for Cody Gilmore on that red number 374 machine, tucked right in as they head up the hill to turn number 2.
Riders on the Bridgestone wet tire, full wet tires for this mixed conditions track. And it's really important they stay with Sam at the beginning. They look like they're getting a better start than they did in race 1, Pat.
Of course, Sam knows what the grip and the conditions are like from that earlier Superbike race as he tucks right in on the inside, looking for as much pavement that's wet as possible to keep those tires cool. And now you ride on board with Sam Guerin under the bridge. And Michael, this has got to be one of the most challenging portions of the racetrack through Moss Corner.
It's very easy to make a mistake in corner 5, Pat. It's off camber on the exit, and it's really, really important to get a good drive. So you've got mixed problems there. If you don't do it, you're slow. If you do it, you could crash. So it's important that they pay attention there.
Great battle here side by side for third between the 69 of Michael Arnie Wells and the 51 of Jake Masters. They were right together as they accelerated up the Andretti straightaway. And now it'll be Sam Guerin who will bring the riders in through the S's on this opening lap.
Sam going through the last couple of corners, tiptoeing as he gets through. It's a little wetter than it was yesterday, Pat. I think he's got to be concerned to make it to the end of the race. He knows he's got the speed on these guys. They haven't had enough time. But look at second place. Gilmore is holding on tight.
Gilmore, of course, with the experience of running the race yesterday, will be relatively closer. Oh, big slide there by Sam as Gilmore is close to within about 15 to 20 bike lengths. So unlike yesterday, Guerin not able to clear off Cody Gilmore right there in second, the Little Elm, Texas rider on his Harley.
Gilmore's been fast. He's been the closest to Sam all weekend, Pat. And I think if he can hold with him, get up that back straight together, he'll be able to pull into the draft.
Unfortunately for Jesse Janish, he's all the way back at 8. Looks like whatever that mechanical problem was with that bike, they still are dealing with issues. You ride on board with Sam Guerin as he works his way back into Moss Corner. There you can see still about 20 bike lengths back to Cody Gilmore, but Gilmore making this much more of a race than the battle we had here yesterday.
You mentioned Jesse Janish, Pat. I was talking to him in the pits. They've had some problems with the valve train on that Harley Davidson. He was not able to make qualifying, but he was in fact fastest rider on both of our practice sessions earlier on in the weekend. So it's a real shame that he hasn't been able to get up here with the leaders, because this is a real race.
Still a good scrap for the final podium spot between the 69 of Michael Arnie Wells and 51 Jake Masters as they continue to go at it. Tonawanda, New York's Craig Braymiller still rounding out your top 5. Schlack, Hoffman, and then Janish still struggling with a motorcycle that's not up to 100%.
Pat, Carl Schlacht is on a street stock motorcycle, but he's holding a really good race there with Hoffman, and I think we could see some pretty exciting things if we keep our eyes on him near the end of this race.
You ride on board with Cody Gilmore, your second place rider in that Suburban Motors machine, and he is closed on Sam Guerin. This is a great ride by Cody Gilmore on that number 374 machine. He has really cut into the lead here as we work lap number 3 of 8 that makes up race number 2.
Gilmore's showing no fear out there, Pat. This track is pretty daunting. It's a very fast track. It's wet. He's on a big motorcycle with an awful lot you can change on it, and they seem to have come up with the right ingredients to get that bike. I think he could win this.
The lap time's about 7 to 8 seconds slower than they ran yesterday, so definitely the racetrack wetter and more challenging than it was for race number 1.
I'm wondering, Pat, if Guerin is maybe working this track, watching his pit board. Maybe at the end of the race he'll pull out something special, but right now Gilmore is holding tight. They're almost the same lap times right now.
There you can see lots of dry patches have formed on the Andretti straightaway as Sam Guerin brings that big Harley in through turn number 8. Cody Gilmore right there, and then that battle for third continues between Wells 69 and Masters on bike number 51.
Coming into the last corner, Pat, good smooth line. Looks like Gilmore's got that bike sorted well. It's handling well. It's the match for Guerin at this point of the race.
And he is close to within about 10 bike lengths, as close as he's been all race long. Sam Guerin, your leader, Cody Gilmore, in a great two-rider battle as they work under the bridge at turn 2.
Big black line coming off the back tire of Gilmore's bike out of corner 1. It looks like the track's drying fast enough. Those tires are getting kind of gummy, and they'll be looking for the wetter parts of the track, Pat, to make it to the end of the race.
In through turn number 3, Gilmore tucking right down on the inside. That's the dry line. These tires will hang in there. Very good rain tire by Bridgestone, but those riders also trying to find some puddles to keep them as cool as possible.
Keep in mind, Pat, these bikes are over 600 pounds. These are about 1.5 times the superbike weight. Oh, look at that. Big slide out of Gilmore in Moss's. As I mentioned, it's very important to get a good drive, but he just about threw it away.
Let's have a look at the replay. You're on board with Cody Gilmore up into 5A. Gets a little bit wide with a big slide, almost puts it on the ground. Had to get his foot down and does continue, but I think that is going to take him back. Here's another look. Oh, great save there by Gilmore, the former motocrosser. making use of all of his experience there.
Great save by Cody Gilmore. As I mentioned earlier, it's really important to get around Moss's fast and get out of there so you get a good drive up the straightaway, but you got to be careful. He got lucky.
Sam Guerin has really stretched that lead out with the little mistake by Cody Gilmore at Moss Corners. They work out of turn 10 and on the start-finish straightaway. Back in third, we had that battle going on between 69 Michael Wells and 51 Jake Masters. Craig Braymiller rounding out your top five. We'll be back. Portions of this Bagger Racing League broadcast is brought to you by Pace Law Firm's Fallen Riders Support Team, by Drag Specialties, and by DP Brakes. Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. There you see that blue and white last lap flag out for Sam Guerin as he's just a lap away from sweeping both of our Bagger Racing League events here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Sun shining bright now, Pat. It's put it on cruise. He's got enough of a lead on Cody Gilmore and Arnie Wells. I think he's just going to focus on getting that bike safely to the finish line.
There you can see still portions of the racetrack a little bit wetter than others. We're on the final lap. The running order is Sam Guerin, your leader, Cody Gilmore, then Arnie, Michael Wells in third. He has had a great battle with 51 Masters, but Wells taking control of that final podium spot. Braymiller has been in fifth most of the race. Hoffman, Schlack, and then Janish, who looks like he is going to be a DNF after retiring halfway through the race. They've just had a horrible weekend with all the mechanical issues.
Great weekend for the original garage team of Sam Guerin. They put that motorcycle on pole. They put it in front of the pack in both races, and look at that lead, Pat.
He checked over his left shoulder, but Cody Gilmore is a long, long way back. Looks like he is going to have a similar margin of victory. He's already fist pumping. He knows he's got this one win, as he was the lone Canadian starter here. And boy, I say he is primed to take on Ruben Zaus and Jesse Janish and some of the other top riders coming up in November at Willow Springs. But right now, out of turn number 10, the checkered flag awaits at the line. Sam Guerin will take the Bagger Racing League race number 2.
Proud moment for the original garage team. Sam Guerin celebrating. Lots of Harley fans here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park this weekend. Great to see this event gone well for him. Great to see it gone well for everybody.
Let's go to Sarah Sett, who's standing by with our double race winner.
Congratulations, Sam, on your second Bagger race win at CTMP. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Feeling relief because the last 2 laps I had only 1 gear left, I think. I think it was a 4th gear, so I couldn't go like in 3rd or in 5th on the straight. So I was just trying to bring it back home, and I'm glad we made it. Big thanks to Original Garage Moto and Primo Harley Davidson. They did an awesome job all weekend. Bridgestone tires were hooking up really good, even on the mixed conditions. So really happy with this win.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sam sporting his proud new belt. Following Sam, Cody Gilmore, Michael Wells, Jake Masters, Craig Braymiller, Sean Hoffman, Carl Schlack, and Jesse Janish.
For Michael Taylor and our Bridgestone pit reporter Sarah Sett, this is Pat Gonzalez saying so long from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.